Welcome back to the Yoga Chat. I'm your host, Montana.
And I'm your host, May.
And today you guys are stuck with us. So, yay! A
Just the
little
two of us.
a little mini duo, just the two of us. We can make
We
it
can
if we
make it if we
try.
try. Oh, wow.
Just the two of us. We did not plan that. There
You
it
and
is.
I. If we planned that, we'd be the biggest fucking dorks on the planet.
And we're weird, but you
And
guys should know by now we're not dorks. Big difference.
yes, we're the biggest weirdos. We are clearly not dorks. Or are we?
Or are we? So we have a very loose plan. We actually had an idea, or May had an idea for our next like duo episode, but we just haven't had time to like implement it. So May thought, which I feel like should talk about now, so that the next time we do this, anybody that listens can know to send us in experiences. So May thought it would be cool if our listeners share things that yoga teachers have said that have made them feel empowered or like really joyful or happy, or basically things that the yoga
Relaxed.
teachers have said, yeah, relaxed, that have given them a good experience. And then things that yoga teachers have said that have made them feel uncomfortable or like less than or disempowered or stressed. The opposite of all those ooey gooey good feelings. And we can really start to dissect specifically language and then in that episode as well, I don't want to give too much away, but then I would love to dissect the nuances that people probably don't recognize that their teachers are saying or aren't saying,
Yep.
but that are still leaving really big impacts on their nervous systems and their subconsciouses. So, is that a word? Subconsciouses? I feel like it should be subconsci.
So,
Subcon They're subconscious. We'll just keep it singular. So yeah, we'll do
which is
that.
why we're
And
yoga teachers and we're not English teachers.
language, we're like, let's talk about how important language is.
Language.
Self-consci. Whoops. So yeah, so people, anyone that's listening and has an experience to share, please reach out, send us a DM on the yoga chat at the yoga chat Instagram. And I think it would be better. I mean, you can type it out if you want, but I think it would be easier if you sent us a voice memo. And then, a few weeks or a few months from now, when we do the next one, just May and I, then we'll have that be sort of the theme. And I think it's going to be a really fun one, really
Yeah,
good
I
one.
agree because we've talked to a decent amount of people at this point now, and the theme that comes from most people when we ask them about like that one experience that finally pulled them into yoga and kept them there, a lot of it has to do with the way they were spoken to. Um, I think the words that come out of a teacher's mouth are important, and they kind of make or break an experience. And every teacher has said the wrong thing, not intentionally, but because we're human and we say the wrong things. And every teacher has probably said something beautiful that really landed on somebody that, made them feel comfortable and made them want to keep coming back. So the goal here is just to like educate, because sometimes I think people speak to us and we don't even know what it is that they're saying that makes us feel good, but something about it just makes us feel comfortable. And so it would be good to educate everybody. And this isn't just for like teaching yoga, but in communication in general and holding space for others in or out of a yoga studio. The language you use is very important. And sometimes we don't realize it as the listener, and sometimes we don't realize it as the space holder. But it would be cool to open up a discussion about it because we
Yeah.
should all learn and we could all know and recognize that we are flawed humans that can fuck up and say the wrong thing, and no matter how hard we try or how pure our intentions are, there will be times where we make someone uncomfortable, and we have to be able to like put that in our pocket and not um like fight against it or get angry about it, but just learn from it. So
Yeah, totally.
that's
And I
that.
think something I saw recently is a quote that said communication is important, but what's more important is comprehension, which makes me think about like it is so important what we say, but it's also important what we don't say, because what we do or what we don't say can all have lasting impacts. So if you've had an experience where you're in a class and the teacher isn't saying enough and you feel disempowered,
Hmm.
share that as well, because there's a perfect like middle ground of what needs to be said, what can be said, what is empowering, and what isn't. So being able to comprehend the communication, and like May said, not just as a yoga teacher, but in real life. We talk a lot about this in our 200-hour conscious communication. And now I recognize it when other people aren't doing it in my regular life. And we can't expect people to know to do that.
Mhm.
Matthew Mitchell, I'm staring at you. And so instead of getting angry, it depends on where I'm at energetically too. Like if I've got a lot of energy, I'll be like, hey, I would appreciate it if you would say it this way instead of that way. But if I'm just tired and stressed, want to go to bed, I just like recognize it, let it roll off to one shoulder and fall asleep. That's how I've been recently, which perfect segue leads us to, I don't actually know if this is, we really don't have a plan for today, but May said we should talk about your bachelorette party. And it wasn't mine, by the way. It was my two friends, one in Miami and one in Vegas in the past 3 weeks.
Well,
So
let
yoga
me
chat
just
after
say
dark.
I brought it up because I didn't hear from Montana most of the weekend she was away, and then all of a sudden I'm sitting on my couch in my pajamas and I get a very erotic video. And I was like, I'm going to ask you about this on the yoga chat, and this is going to be yoga chat after dark. So pour your tea and sit down and brace yourself because Montana got a lap dance from a very large man in a pair of undies. And now you need to hear about it.
So
And I bet he does yoga because nobody could move their hips in that manner unless that man
he
does a lot of yoga.
so we went to we were in Vegas and we went to Magic Mike. And I don't know why. I just like I didn't stick my nose up to it. I just didn't expect it to be like I didn't expect to be impressed by it. I expected just to like giggle, and be like, oh, these boys are dancing. How weird. So funny. But to my surprise, to my naive surprise, it was a Vegas show and the men were incredible. The dancing was phenomenal. My jaw was on the ground because not only were they macho, hot, delicious men, but they were so talented. I was like, if you're watching this on YouTube, like there are videos of me going like, so they were like, magic miking and would like come up to us and like lap dance, like give us lap dances and stuff. But they were all like so kind. Honestly, too, like some of them, because they were such good dancers, and I say this like with the biggest heart because I grew up in the dance world, like at least one of them, if not half of them, had to be gay. Like
Mhm.
I'm sorry, like there's Channing Tatum, who's that good of a dancer, who's straight. There's like every other good dancer, and I shouldn't put this out in public, but like in the dance world, most of the men that are dancing are gay. Not all of them, but the majority of them are gay. So that
Well,
being
you're
that
speaking
way
from your
too.
experience, right? Like as a dancer, you had that experience where most of the men you danced with were gay, right?
Yeah, and like also in general, like
Okay.
I'm still like still a lot of my friends went into the professional dance world, and there's like I would say one in every 10 men that dance are gay.
Okay.
Or sorry, are straight. One in every 10 men are straight. So,
So then these guys not only are good dancers, but great actors because they have to pretend to be attracted to you when they're not.
and
Is that
I'm sure that some of them were straight. Like in this show, like it was hard to tell. Normally my gaydar is on point just because I've been around people in the gay community since I was a wee little girl. Um, But the reason that I bring this up is because like the video that I sent you, that guy specifically, I just got the gay feeling from, which made me feel like, which made me love it even more because I was
they were
like,
comfortable?
yeah, I was like, oh my God, this gay guy is like putting on a show for me and like pretending that he likes me, but really he doesn't like me at all. Like he wants the boys on stage with him, not this girl right here.
Put
Um,
you at ease to know he didn't actually want you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Whereas
got
on
you.
the flip side, now this is all like me deciphering the men in Magic Mike, if they're gay or straight, totally my opinion, my guess. Like
Right.
I have no idea. Um, then all the girls I was with were wearing these cute, like sparkly dresses, and I was wearing this cute, like sparkly jumpsuit. So I had pants on, and this girl next to me, Mackenzie, was like, oh my God, they started calling like girls on stage for different parts of the show. And she was like, oh my God, they're only calling girls with pants on. I bet they do that because, like, obviously,
Yeah.
for obvious reasons. And so she's like, Montana, what if you get called on stage because you're the only one in our group? And we had like front row seats. She's like, you're the only one in our group wearing pants. And I was like, I was on one and I was like, oh my God, yes, that would be amazing. I love boys. I love boys. I love boys. Lo and behold, someone comes up to me. I can't express to you enough how polite and respectful and comfortable this whole experience was, like, in the background. So this guy comes up to me and he's like, hey, do you want to go on stage? And I was like, yeah, I would love to go on stage. And he's like explaining everything to me. He's like, okay, in about 10 minutes, this is going to happen on stage. Then they're going to pull on a drum set and this other guy's going to come grab you and you're going to go up on those steps over there. And just know that, like, everything that we're going to ask you to do, like, you're allowed to say no, like, and this is all fun and games. And, we're just having fun here. And I was like, oh my God, okay, great. Sounds fun. Yeah. Put me on the stage. And lo and behold, they bring a drum set on the stage. This other guy comes up to me, walks me over to the steps. At this point, though, he's saying something to me, and I'm literally like, I can't hear you. And all I heard him say was like, I'm going to walk you over to the guy playing the drums and the word straddle. And so I was like, again, I was like, I can't hear you. And he was like, and it was the time of the show because the whole thing's like a production and like choreographed.
Mm.
So it was like, all right, well, it's time to go. Sorry, you can't hear me. So he walks me up on the stage and the drummer spins around in his chair. And I just sat on his lap and straddled him and put my legs around him because that's what I thought the guy told me to do. And they made eyes at each other like, oh, this is going to be easy. And I like looked at him like, what do you mean? Why are you looking at each other like that? You literally told me to sit on his lap and to straddle him. I'm not the crazy one here. Um, and then he spins back around toward the drum set and literally played a whole song of drums while I was just sitting on his lap straddling him.
I thought
And
you were gonna say he played the drums on your ass.
no, he was playing the real drums. And just imagine, like, face to face with a guy, your back is to the drums, and he's like and like hardcore playing. I mean, I was like being like shaken around. I was like, how is he doing this? This man on the drums, I do not think was gay. This one, my gut says is straight. And it was so funny while we were on while this was happening. Like, he's being so innocent and so nice. He's like looking like this, like, blah, 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 blah. But to me, he's like, so what's your name? And I'm like, I'm Montana. And he's like, and where are you from? And I'm like, I'm from Dallas, but I live in Pittsburgh. Actually, I'm pretty much from Pittsburgh now. I've been there for 11 years. And he's like, oh, cool. And he's literally just like, oh, cool. Well, what are you doing here? And I was like, it's my friend's bachelorette party. So in the video, it looks like our faces are so much closer because my like ear is to his mouth and then my mouth is to his ear because that's the only way we can hear each other. And I am hysterically laughing because I'm getting shaken around and the conversation is like surfaced small talk. And so I'm just
Like you're at the dentist
dying.
office and he's just giving you a cleaning. He's like,
Yes,
so how's school going?
literally just like that. Like, get dentist office, getting your hair done, any of those kind of conversations. But after that, I was like, okay, it's time for me to go home. It's officially, I've had my fair share in Vegas. There's a line, I have crossed it. I'll see you guys at the
I mean,
hotel.
if you don't cross the line in Vegas, you're doing it wrong. Meanwhile, that very night, I was sitting at my couch watching a Law and Order rerun, drinking LaCroix in sweatpants. So I was living
It's
vicariously through you when I received that video. Ooh, the doggy has entered the chat.
He's being a dick. 1 second.
Boy.
He is a good boy for the most part. So yeah, that happened. It was so much fun. I have to say too that it was one of the best bachelorette parties I've ever been on. It was with the bachelorette, her fiance was roommates with my husband for like 6 years. And at one point I lived in that house too. So Dan was also my roommate for like a year.
Mhm.
And we have totally different friends or groups of friends. So a bunch of the girls that I was with, I'd only met like once, if ever. Mackenzie and Michaela, I think I'd met like a few times, like drunken in college or right after college. But um, yeah, it was like not my group of friends. And that can go like really bad. I feel like if you just like infiltrate a group of girls in Vegas while you're drinking. And it was amazing. Like they were all so kind and hilarious and down to earth. And like, of course we were drinking, but like that wasn't the main, like they weren't there to just like see how fucked up they could get. Like it was just so refreshing. I like have hope for like females. Um because I'm like only ever around growing up with little brothers and like being in like the yoga space. I like don't hang out with like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I've had like bad experiences with girls in my life. And so I can oh wait, now I'm getting the background noise from you, May, for some reason.
Hmm.
Pausing, friends. All right, friends, we just solved a solution, solved a problem with a solution.
We solved a solution with a
Wait,
problem.
now I think I can hear it again.
Oh no.
Let's just see what happens. It's the yoga chat after darks, after the dark. The
You're
Instagram, the
really on one.
dark. Anywho, all that to say, it was such a great experience. The girls were amazing. Um, and I have to also talk about the fact that we got there Friday and Saturday morning, there was 9 of us. 3 of us ran the half marathon and the bachelorette ran the full marathon. And it was the first marathon I ever ran. And I subbed 2, which means I did it under 2 hours, which I can't believe I did that because I've never literally, was not training that fast. People were telling me that run marathons, like your adrenaline's going to spike. And like when you're actually there, it's going to be so much easier and so much more fun and better and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, it's running bullshit. But it was true. I was running under 9 minute miles. And I'd never done that consistently for even 10 miles, much less 13. And the freaking bachelorette finished the full marathon in 3 hours and 10 minutes and was running 7 minute miles for 26 miles. And then afterward was just gliding through Vegas. And I was like hobbling like a 95-year-old behind her.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's an interesting way to begin a trip to Vegas because you're dehydrated, you're sore, and then you're gonna go out drinking. I would probably need to be taken away on a stretcher. Um,
Yeah, I'm not really doing so hot right now, but we're gonna get past it. We're gonna get through it. They were asking me though, like even though I had so much fun at Magic Mike, like, being an insane freaking girl and like just in general getting to like spend time with them at the airport, you're like, let's play Rose and Bud. I was like, honestly, running the marathon was my favorite part. And Kate, the bachelorette, was like, she looked at me, she's like, really? And I was like, yeah, like that was I I sent May my playlist. I shuffled it. The universe delivered. It was every song in every perfect order. I was like dancing while I was running, which then I was like, all these people know that I'm not a runner because like number one rule, like conserve your energy. And I was literally like da 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 da. But
I
it
mean,
got me
but finding
through.
like the joy in it probably helps because if you're just sitting
Yeah.
there thinking about how much it fucking sucks, I mean, I would not be able to finish that without the best playlist of my life.
Yep.
When me and my friend Lisa, like last summer, we did the Rachel Carson challenge, and so it's like a hike. It's 38 miles in a day. We did the half, so we only did 19 miles. But I made a
Wow.
playlist called the Death Hike Hype playlist, and I put it on at the end because you get to those points where mentally you're like, no, I'm fucking done. I can't finish. I'm not doing this any further. And then the click the playlist on and the playlist gets you through every single time. So like I
Yes.
remember Kaja, she told us that she doesn't run with music. And I love Kaja and I think she's honestly
A
the greatest
serial
person on the
killer?
planet. But in that moment, I thought she was a serial killer because who does that? Kaja, if you're listening, you're a superwoman and a serial
Yeah.
killer.
I can see her like face right now being like giggling, like, no, it's just what I like.
Just remain
So
just super calm, running
yeah,
18,000 miles, not breaking a sweat, not ever
it's
feeling out of
crazy.
breath.
It's crazy. I have to tell you too, May, At mile like 5 or 6, I had to pee. There's like porta potties at the stop at like different stops with like water and energy gummies and stuff. I told Matt this yesterday. He's like, "You peed during the marathon?" And I was like, "Yeah, I had to freaking go." And he's like, "I've
Yeah.
never heard of anyone doing that." And I'm like, "I guarantee
People
people
shit
that you know have
themselves during
done
the
that."
marathon.
I was like, "They just haven't told you about." Oh, Jesus. Sorry. Fucking Denim. The reason he's not in his crate right now, people, is because we've been napping all day because I'm still trying to become a human. So I thought it would be rude. Okay. So that's why Denim's with us. And I apologize. He keeps ruining and interrupting everything.
Apologize for that sweet baby.
He is so nice. He just wants me to play fetch so bad. Here, go get him. So, anywho, I stopped, like I said, at mile like 5 or 6, had to pee. After I finished and started running, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to like sprint for a second to find like the people that I was with. I want to like catch up and get back to where I was. And guess what song started playing literally in that moment?
Tell me.
No Cars.
No
No Cars.
shit.
Yeah.
No Cars Go.
Arcade, yeah, No Cars Go, Arcade Fire. I was literally like, I can't wait to tell Presley and May about this moment right here. When I sent Presley the playlist, she was like, when No Cars Go plays, I hope you have an out of body experience. I still don't think she knows. Did you tell her that that's like one of your favorite songs and you cried when she
No,
played it?
when that song came on during that class, I thought that maybe you told her to play it or you
No.
requested it or something, but when it came on, I seriously think that my soul left my body, and I was so tired at that point. I haven't taken, like I do Peloton all the time, but when you're at home on the bike, like, you don't push as hard as you do when you're in a group class. So I was pushing, I was dying, and I didn't think I had anything left, and then I heard the first, like, 2 seconds of that song come on, and I was like, "Oh, it is fucking on." And I left my body, and when I came back to my body, I was having a mini heart attack, and it was amazing. But that song, and I don't know, I think Presley and I we've discussed music, but not this particular song, but that song would bring me back from the dead. No matter
Yeah.
what situation, I put that song on and I'm on one.
I also love how
That's so
long it
funny.
is because I was like, I just finished, like, I went to the bathroom at a mile marker and it's like about 6 minutes long. And so I was like, okay, great. Like, I'm gonna listen to this song and then I'm gonna
Mhm.
have like less than half a mile to go to the next mile marker. Um,
And the best part of that song is the last minute is the most intense minute of the whole song, and it just builds the whole time, builds, 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 and then it just goes off. And then when you think it's over, it just goes harder. It's so
yeah.
good.
Yeah, it was so good. Another crazy moment was so we were running, we started at the top of a mountain and we ran down the mountain, which made my speed a lot, which is why my speed was so fast. But once we were done like going downhill, when it became flat and when there was the slightest hill, it felt like I was trying to run up like MacArthur, like up Mount Washington. Um,
Yeah.
so it was flat and it was no, the terrain was like not as pretty at this point. We were like in between an apartment complex and a highway and Ocean Avenue, but the Steve Aoki remix started playing. And I literally looked crazy. I was pretending I was like on a Peloton bike and like on the beat going like right foot, right foot, right foot, right foot, and like banging my head. So like even my neck is sore. And but I also banged my head at Fisher that night too. So who knows? I'm just a shell of a
Does he
human, but
like
I'm so
pop
grateful.
punk, Steve Aoki? Does he like pop punk? Because he's done a couple remixes of Taking Back Sunday songs that I've found, and I put them in Sculpt and Flow because I love EDM and I love pop punk, and the two of them mixed together, I just want to do like Mountain Climbers all day. But
Yes.
I want to know like if he just personally likes that shit or what, because
Well,
I
we
didn't even
should
know he had
have
an Ocean Avenue remix.
it's so good. We should have it's newer, I'm pretty sure. We should have Steve Aoki on the yoga chat. Steve Aoki, if you're listening, we'd love to have you guest.
Does he do yoga?
I bet he does. All those
He probably
DJs
does.
do. I bet he
They do.
does.
All right.
Just
Well,
like,
yeah, that will be our next goal.
yeah,
Who
just
knows
like
Steve Aoki?
Diplo's starting a run club where you like run 3 to 5 miles and then he like hosts a party. And I was like, can I run the 3 to 5 miles with you, Diplo, and then not go to the party because now I know what that feels like. And I'd rather just run than go to the party after. Uh,
Um, fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say.
We're
What?
casual today. I almost did this from my bed and I was like,
We haven't
no,
talked about yoga even once.
I know. The girls asked me to do yoga before and after. I like definitely did my own yoga, but I was like, I can't teach you people yoga. I'm sorry. Um,
You know what's
we
funny?
talked
When you
about the
become a
yoga
yoga
chat.
teacher and like when you go on vacation with people, they want you to teach them yoga. And in the beginning, it's like, yay, fun. I want to teach yoga to all my friends on vacation. And then after you're teaching for a couple of years, you're like, no, I don't want to do yoga or teach yoga. I just want to
To be
lay
on
here on the
vacation.
beach.
Yep, absolutely. I went to a music festival probably in 2021 and Hannah Bagel was there, Hannah Schlegel, her boyfriend's Matt Schwartz, who was one of our first guests. And she was like, I'm going to go to yoga this and yoga that. And I was like, girl, I so wish that I could go to yoga with you at this festival, but like, I'm not going to go to yoga with you at this festival. I think now would be different. I think now, well, no, like if it's a yoga retreat and I know that the yoga is going to be what I like, not good or bad, but what I like, then
Right.
I'm going to do it. But like to risk spending time doing a yoga class that I don't enjoy, it's just not worth the
Right.
risk.
Right. Yeah, like walking into a studio that you don't know what to expect and then spending an hour to either have a great experience or have an experience that makes you want to eat yourself into the ocean.
Yeah, eat yourself into the ocean.
Yeet. Y-E-E-T.
Oh, yeet. I'm old. Um, so those are all my dirty fun secrets from Las Vegas.
It could be
Um,
dirtier. I'm disappointed. Just kidding.
I'm not going to post the video, but I will send it to you, May. And if anyone listening is still listening and you text me, you have to have my number though. If you don't have my number, sorry, you're never seeing the video. If you're listening
No.
and you have my number and text me, can I see the video? I'll be like, only because you've listened this far in the yoga chat after dark.
I was put in charge of finding the stripper for my best friend's bachelorette party. And for some reason, I was hell bent on finding a stripper that would dress up like Steve Urkel. And so I
Oh my
did.
God.
And he showed up to the party dressed head to toe like a big fucking dork, and
Oh my
he
God.
like suspenders, high pants, thick rimmed black glasses, and he walked in and he positioned 2 girls, like the bride and one of her bridesmaids, and they were in chairs facing each other, but one of them had her back to the main door, and he was like, "Just sit here and don't move." And we were like, "Oh
Oh my
shit,
God.
what's about to happen?" So he comes running full speed from the door, leaps like 6 feet into the air, and lands on both of their laps with his face in one of their lap and his dick in another one of their laps,
No,
and just starts gyrating at a pace that was, like, not human. Um, and so, like, it was I have the video, I'll have to show you because the screeches and the screams that came from this room because, like, he was a big guy, and to see him, like, leap that high in the air, it was very impressive. And then the next day, we all got brunch after, and both of them had these massive bruises on their thighs, like, he he
that's
went for it.
scary.
Yeah, he left a mark, but it was very
Bruises.
impressive. He left a fucking mark. But yeah, don't put me in charge of your bachelorette party unless you want Steve Urkel to show up.
That's
I don't know
amazing
why I
though.
thought it was so funny. We still talk about it.
I just watched yesterday the Friends episode when I think it's Monica's bachelor. No, sorry, it's Rachel's bachelorette, but she's pregnant, so she can't drink her. I can't remember what it is. Maybe it's her. I don't know. Danny DeVito though comes dressed up as a cop, and he's like their stripper, and they're like unimpressed because it's Danny DeVito, and then he's like, "I've been doing this for 32 years," and Rachel's like, "Well, what other skills do you have?" And he's like, "All I know is taking my clothes off in front of people."
I don't think I've
And he's
ever seen
like,
that episode, and I can't. Now I'm
it's
gonna need to
good.
find it because I want
It's
to see
good.
Danny DeVito as a stripper.
And
Um,
he's like, man, you never know when it's gonna be your last dance. And just like that. And I didn't even get to finish. And Phoebe goes, finish. And he's like, really? You want me to? And Rachel's like, really? We want him to? She's like, yeah, show us your dance. It's ridiculous. So if you're listening still, again, we apologize that this isn't about yoga today, but um I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for letting me just sit here and be a shell of a human because I have something about yoga that is kind of entwined with all of this. I taught my 6 a.m. power class today and like my legs are still not really working. And so
Mhm.
I was like, we're going to get started standing up today, ladies and gentlemen, because I can't get up and down right now. So
Mhm.
that's what we did.
When I walk into a class and the teacher says we're starting standing, I'm like, "Oh, fuck."
Yeah.
And it's just like a really good sign. Well, either that the class is gonna be really intense or that the teacher apparently can't get up and down. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I taught your sculpt yesterday and I was just on one. And I went, you know how usually you teach sculpt and you do maybe like 50 to 75% of it? Yesterday when I taught it, I went all in. I did pretty much all of it with them. And so I'm sore today and I was teaching power. We were doing a lot of balancing and I was like falling left and right. And I love when I fall up front. I'm like, take this as a fun idea. Like, don't take yourself too seriously. Hey, you could fall down, you could be human. And like, but today I was literally just falling all over the place. And everybody who comes to class with us, like, pretty much knows us at this point, but I was thinking, like, if there's anyone new in here, they're probably looking at me like, "Who is this woman teaching me yoga? And she is a fucking disaster."
Oh,
And that
yeah.
was it, like, the whole conversation I had in my head. Because usually I don't mind wobbling and shaking in front of everybody, because like, it is what it is. But for some reason today, I was, like, particularly a mess, and I was just thinking, if I was going to someone's class for the first time and the teacher could not hold one posture, would I feel safe? Or I don't know. I like watching teachers fall out of stuff sometimes because then I
But not
feel
like
more human
chaotic the
myself.
whole time. That's a good point. I definitely was falling out of everything because I can barely walk. But yeah, I don't know. I never thought about that. I don't guess I've never had a teacher, never had an experience where the teacher was like so off balance that it made me feel like, what are they doing? So maybe the
Yeah,
answer is no, or maybe that's just my
I don't know.
experience.
I've never had the experience where I felt so off balance that I was worried people didn't would think that I didn't know what I was doing, but today I was, like, so bad that I was like, "They probably think I'm just some weirdo that showed up off the street to come teach a class." I, like, weaseled my way into the studio. I'm like, "Welcome, everyone." I mean, if they didn't know me, they would think that, but yeah, I was a disaster today. I wish you guys could see Montana because she's giving sign language signals to her dog, and she's real pissed.
I'm just like, sit, sit, sit. Now he's looking at me like, I am. I freaking am. He's so cute. Oh my God. They're both so cute. Um, so
Oh, well, here's another question. Have you thought any more about our conversation with Emily last week of
ooh,
whether or not you believe yoga can change the world? Since you're a shell of a human, today might be a good day to get
yeah.
really into the
I
deep
was just
stuff.
gonna say, how about I actually prepare for it? We both prepare for it next week.
You know what's funny? I
Um,
think my mind changes. Like, I don't think I have one. I think my optimistic side thinks, yes, absolutely. And I don't even know if it's just yoga that can change the world or if it's like people finding something that brings them joy and doing it regularly and getting out of their heads that can change the world. But I also think when I'm feeling particularly pessimistic or reading too much worldly news, I feel like an idiot to say, "Oh yeah, yoga can change the world." Like, "Oh my god, everybody should do yoga." So, and it's funny too because before last week I really never thought about it differently. But Emily made me think. And it seems like she that's the kind of person she is, huh?
oh yeah, my God.
She
Um,
sparks much thought.
yeah, I've had multiple people text me this week and they're like, just listen to the Emily episode, need to re-listen 100 times. Or need to like
Mm,
re-listen again because same, like I haven't listened to it yet because I just need to be in the right mindset for it. And I'm really excited to listen to it because she just drops so many. That's how Emily is. She when she says things, it's like it doesn't it doesn't always make sense when she says it, but like 6 months from now, we're gonna remember something randomly and be like, oh. And I think one of the things she said that I really agree with is that like yoga has the ability to change someone's life, but us doing yoga isn't changing lives.
right.
Um, and that's like exactly like what goes back to the thing that I said about dance. Like dance can change someone's life. It did change my life to an extent until I was a certain age and put me on the path that I'm on. But like me dancing doesn't change lives. And that's what annoyed me about the professional dance world is that like some dancers made me feel like, or I believed that some dancers thought that they were saving lives. And I was like, you're ridiculous. Okay. You're twirling around on stage. And I think that it's kind of going back to what you said just a second ago, that it doesn't matter if it's yoga or dance or walking or karate. I don't know. I just said karate, or like being a mom, or um
Playing music, being a musician,
yeah,
like
like exactly your
expression
passion.
maybe, like
Yeah,
something
creativity
that allows you to express yourself in a way that's
fully.
not like a day-to-day, like, slugging through your daily life. It's like a something that you do for just a smaller amount of time that allows you to get into this, like, different headspace, and I think that's probably the big part, and I think a lot of people have touched on it a good bit. It's like it's finding that state of mind where you are not walking through every fucking to-do list in your head or thinking about every email or all the texts you
Yeah.
need to respond to, but you are just completely separated from your day-to-day bullshit and you're expressing yourself in a way that's just kind of like in your own little way that feels magical to you, that lets you take that little break from your crap, I guess you could say. Um, I like how we have nice words day and we have really shitty words days, and I think today's one of our shitty words days.
I thought you were
Crap.
just saying today is one of our nice words days. And I was like, what?
No, no,
Okay.
today's not one of our nice words days. We're idiots
No,
today.
no, I like, no, it wasn't. We were supposed to have a guest this week, you guys, and we're saving her for next week because I was just like, listen, I want to be present for your conversation and like I can't be present this week. So that's one more thing that I'll touch on is that like through finding your passions, like it's so important to set those boundaries so that you don't burn out. And it's not only like my life's been busy outside of my passions and my work and the yoga, but like, and I knew that these 4 weeks were going to be insane. There were some things that popped up in one of my jobs that were that I wasn't expecting, which made these 4 weeks a lot harder than I was imagining. But still, it's just like a reminder to set like really clear boundaries with myself, whether that's work or play or like with my relationships, so that these grounding things that have the potential to change my life, aka like make me feel present, and like May said, like not, you know, slows down my brain for a second so that I can just be in the now. Um, it all kind of has to like align synergistic or simultaneously rather, in order for those tools to work. Otherwise, then yoga just becomes like another check off the to-do list, like another chore that, I feel like I need to do or I should do. And I'm not there. I'm not burnt out, but I'm very happy that I go out of town tomorrow and I come back Friday and then my life slows down a little bit and I'm excited for that.
Good, good. After the recording, stay here for a moment. Just
Everyone's gonna be they're gonna be like, oh my God, what are they talking about?
the
Two
tea
purple
is
dead
boiling.
two purple devil emojis just staring at you. You'll never know.
Let's turn the recording off and get into the good stuff.
Yeah.
Just kidding. This is the
Um,
good stuff.
this is the good stuff. Well, next week
It's mostly just
we'll
boring stuff that you guys don't want to fucking hear. It's just about work.
yeah, but so next week we have I'll just let you know since you're listening. We have the beautiful Carla Vito. She is from Brazil and currently lives in the Bay Area, and we've been trying to connect with her for some time, but she lives in a Sprinter van. So for her to like schedule a place where she has Wi-Fi can sometimes be challenging. But we have her scheduled and she's going to be on next week. So if you just listened to this and you were like, what the heck did I just spend the last 45 minutes doing? Never fear. Next week we will bring on a very special guest like we normally do. And then we'll keep on rolling. And
Also,
like
if you
we
guys
said,
like hearing us just talk about ridiculous stuff, please let us know because this is
we
easy.
don't yeah, and we don't know
We can go
like
back
if
and
if
forth
you're
all
like this
day.
is so stupid, why are we just wasted our time, or if you're like this is kind of funny. Um so yeah.
Feedback is welcome.
Yeah, always good, bad, and different.
Yeah.
And then, like we said in the beginning, if you have any stories to share regarding really positive or less than positive experiences in a yoga class, please send them our way so that we can start to, um, you know, start a pool essentially, a little, I can't think of the word.
Also, just a little preview to give you some inspiration. I'll share one that happened to me. I was in a class at a studio which will remain nameless, and they had like kind of a harder is better, go harder, go home, be a beast, be the best attitude over there, which some days is like cool, fun, push me hard. I want to work hard. I want to like exhaust myself, but then like when I'm taking yoga on Sunday morning, that's not the time to be militant with me. Um, but I was in a bridge pose, and I guess the teacher didn't think my hips were high enough. And she came over to me and she wrapped her hands around my back and yanked my back up higher and goes, "You can do better than that." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I've never been irate leaving a yoga class in my life except for that one day because I just thought that was wild for this person who knows me, who sees the way I practice, who sees what I typically do, what I'm capable of, what I'm not capable of, who at this point like knew how I practice, to have like the idea in her head that I wasn't pushing hard enough because the yoga is I decide how hard I want to push, and every yoga teacher should know that. But yeah, that was the one that I felt very disempowered. I felt like someone made a decision about my body for me, and it wasn't something that I was in the mood for. Yes, I could have lifted higher, but I didn't want to. And
Yeah.
that was my decision to make. So if you're ever in a class where the teacher is telling you what you should do, they should also be reminding you that you don't have to, that it's a possibility, an option that you can take or leave, but it's not something they're going to demand of you because the practice isn't about them. It is about you. And now I'm getting
Yeah.
mad again and my heart rate's getting up. So I'm going to stop.
You made me think. I was laying in bed before I just took my nap, and I a very, 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 very large yoga brand went live, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna click on this and see what's happening. And it was this teacher doing these, like, what are they called? Like, when you're basically, she was in a plank, and she would pull forward and put one knee toward her tricep and then push her hips back into like a bear dog, and then the other side, one knee to elbow and push back, and like
Like
moving pretty fast.
a spider
Spider.
plank kind of?
Yes, like a
Okay.
spider plank kind of. Yeah, but with like a bird dog. Yes. Um, I literally clicked on it for probably 20 seconds, and she was like, I want to see those hips high to the sky. Come on, give me 30 more seconds or something. And even in that, I was like, you want to see what you want to see doesn't fucking matter. I
Mhm.
don't care what
Yeah.
you want to see. And I'm
Yep.
not giving you fucking anything. I'll give
Right.
myself 30 more seconds. Um,
Exactly.
and those are like, and there's no, like, this poor girl who's like literally teaching this to hundreds of thousands of people. Like, there were 500 people watching it live, and there's going to be hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that watch the recording once it's posted. And it's like, she doesn't know that she's being disempowering. No one's taught her, like, it's not about you. And the nuance of how you, like, even if she's like, well, I know it's not about me, but the language that she's using makes it about her. Like, it doesn't, like, I want to see you do XYZ. Give
Yep.
me, no.
And that's the thing is, like, that was one tiny little thing that she could have said differently, like, for instance, when we took Presley's cycle class, at one
Yeah.
point, it was I would what we would call the peak of the class, and she wanted us to get up out of the seat and sprint and just fucking go. And the way Presley put it was, "This isn't for me, but I want you to think about someone that you love a lot in your life, and think about what you're willing to give them and how much joy they bring you, and use that feeling inside of you about this person to push you to go harder." And I just really loved that, like, in a way, she was she wasn't demanding it of us, but she was giving us this, like,
Inviting.
way of thinking about it where it was encouraging us to do it and not telling us that we were gonna be pieces of shit if we didn't do it. And I
Yeah.
just think that was, like, a really, it was like a really nuanced and smart way to like motivate people of like, this isn't about me. This isn't even about the class, but just think about like something that brings you all of this joy and good feeling and use all of that to like push. And that was like empowering to me. That felt like
Yeah.
an empowering way to get me to want to work harder. Whereas she could have said, do it for me. Go harder. Do it for me. And I would have been like, fuck you. I don't want to do it
Yeah.
for you. Like, I don't know you. I mean, not Presley
Something
personally, but like
else,
when a teacher
the instructor.
tells you. Yeah, when
Yeah.
an instructor that you don't know, or, I know Presley, but I also like if she was a stranger and she asked me to sprint harder for her, I'd be like, "Why? I don't know you. You don't love me.
Yeah.
I'll
And
sprint for the person I love."
something else that Presley says that I love is she says, I don't make the rules, I just make suggestions. And just like
Mhm.
that little line
Yep.
opens up the door for like anytime she's like, let's fucking go, like as hard as you can, da 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 da. It's like she already alluded to the fact that like everything she's saying is a suggestion, not a rule. So
Right.
like, do
If I
do
was
what
sitting
you
my ass
want.
on the bike and I wasn't sprinting, she would not, and I can guarantee it just from the way she leads the class, she would not have walked over to me and told me to give her more or work
Yeah.
harder for
You can do
her, or
better.
I could do better. Exactly. And that's the thing is just like, those are the little, and that's not just teaching yoga or cycle or fitness, but that's like leading a group meeting at work or talking to a friend or your child. Like when you make demands of people, like because you want it from them, it's different than when you approach them with this idea of like, this is something you could do that might make you feel really empowered and good. And I'm going to give you a reason why I think you might want to do it instead of, yeah, it's just different.
It's
And
so
so,
nuanced.
exactly.
We said that we aren't dorks, but we are nerds when it comes to
Yeah,
language.
that is true. We are. And I'm fine. I'll die on that hill.
Me too. Me freaking too. All right, friends. Well, I'm glad we circled back and talked a little bit about yoga. But like I said, join us next week. We'll have the amazing Carla Vito on and send us all of your examples of your different experiences, good, bad, and indifferent. And please don't share names or studios if your experience is less than positive. And if you do share them with us in our DMs, we're just not going to repeat them on the yoga chat. But honestly, we don't really care who the teacher was or where the studio or what studio it was at. So just leave that part out because we don't give a shit.
I mean, if you want to include it, that's fine. I don't mind knowing that tea, but we won't share
I
it.
knew May was going to say that. May's like, no, tell us. I'm like, nope, I don't want to know. We just got feedback. The GM just gave us feedback at Yoga 6 yesterday of like, hey, someone told me that um, the music's been too loud and they're having a hard time hearing cues. Can you remind the teachers? And that's literally all that Julie said. And I was like, yeah, sure. And I sent a group chat saying that exactly. And May was like, was it me? And I was like, I honestly don't know. And then later today, May's like, did you ever get confirmation that it was me? And I was like, no, I literally will not ask Julie because I don't care.
You know why? I had just taught Sculpt and Flow that morning and I was on one. And I know the music was loud, but also I'm loud. So I'm sure they could still hear me, but the music was loud to the point where even at points I was like, the music is too loud, but I'm on one and I can't be deterred and I'm gonna keep it.
And there's a fine
So
line, like in a sculpt class, like as long as they can hear you, it's appropriate. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
especially whenever it's like we're all dying, that music is there to empower you, to support
Yes.
you so that you can feel fucking powerful and strong and like you can do it. So I love loud
I don't
music.
want background elevator music while someone's asking me to do like plank jacks. That's not gonna
No,
work.
nope, nope, nope. All right, ladies and gents, that's all. Thank you so much for being here. We love you much. Peace.
Bye.